theory that germs cause this problem and we're going to blame the germs has been there for a couple hundred years now at this point. But the reality is, epigenetics is a new science. It's from 1990. Is it in the medical school curriculum? Only within the last couple of years. So I say any doctor who got trained previous to 2 years ago or so has very little, if any, information about epigenetics. I go, it's a revolution. Genetics means genes control the character of your life. Epigenetics is the environment controls the genes. If the genes control your life, that belief system, then by definition, we become victims of our heredity. Oh my God, there's a cancer gene in my family and I'm going to get the cancer. Or cardiovascular, my father died when he was 49, my grandfather died when he was 51. Oh my God, I have those genes, I'm going to die at 50. And I go, these are belief systems, of course, and we attribute them to genetics. And now the new science, epigenetics, say, no, this is completely false, that the environment and our consciousness is controlling this. And I say, why is it relevant? Well, if you want to change your biology, then change your consciousness. You don't have to change your genes. The genes aren't in control. With every gene you have in your body, a gene is a blueprint to make a protein. The proteins are the building blocks. So the character of your body in a physical sense is controlled by the blueprints, the genes that make the proteins. I go, so this is a number that it will blow your mind, and that is this. For every gene blueprint in your body, I can make over 3,000 different versions of the protein from the same blueprint based on the way I respond to life. And all of a sudden I say, then am I a direct readout of my genes? I go, no. You could be born with mutant genes and cover it up, or you can be born with healthy genes and get cancer. The genes are just the blueprints. How you use the blueprints and how they're going to function is not based on the genes. It's based on the consciousness, which is now supported by quantum physics and epigenetics. They both say the same thing. So the new biology is not in the medical arena for most physicians because they are not programmed with that new science. And I really have to acknowledge, listen, having taught medical students for years, they're like snapping turtles that once they grab onto that belief system, that's going to be there the rest of their lives because that's what we selected. People who could take all that information in medical school and download it and have a compendium of knowledge. It's resistant to change. And so is there a change? I go, absolutely. Does your physician know about it? If it hasn't been in school in the last few years, probably not. I'm going, well, the revolution is, am I controlled by my genes or do I control my genes? The difference is now that we know we control our genes, and all of a sudden, instead of being victims of our heredity, by definition, we are masters of our heredity because our consciousness can take any gene and make any kind of copy out of it, a copy that gives me health from the gene blueprint, or based on how I perceive the world and I'm not happy or I'm stressed out, I can make a protein that will take away my health. Cancer, everyone says, oh, cancer genes. Let me give you a fact. There's not one gene that causes cancer. There's no such thing as a gene that causes cancer. Genes are correlated with cancer, but they don't cause it. If you're not living in harmony, a so-called oncogene could be engaged, which will make things worse. But if you're living in harmony, there is no gene that is going to take that harmony and make cancer. Cancer has a lot to do with the psychology, the programming, the experiences of an individual. And so just to give an example, they followed the fate of children who are adopted into families where there's cancer. I say, so what? I say, it turns out the adopted child will get the same family cancer as the siblings get with the same probability. I go, yeah, but what's different? I go, the adopted child came from totally different genetics, and the cancer is running in the family. And what's the point? Cancer is not due to genes. Cancer is due to not living in harmony. And all of a sudden it says, well, then how do you fight cancer? And I say, well, we kill all the cancer cells. I go, the cancer cells are a symptom. The problem is not living in harmony. You can kill all the damn cancer cells you want, but if you don't change the problem, the cause, a cancer will come back again. And so there's a misunderstanding about genes and victimization. We're all perceived as victims of our heredity when we are absolute masters We control our genetics, and that's the most important fact that people have to understand.